Welcome to Transformation Heroes by Fidia, a series dedicated to CX professionals.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Transformation Heroes, joined once again by Francois. Hello, Francois.
Hello, Carlos. Good to be back.
Good to see you as always. Right, so today we are covering how to improve your VoC systems in 2025. VoCs is voice of the customer, and it's been about for a very, very long time. So we'll be covering three main aspects of the VoC, which make up the VoC, which is connecting, it's insights, and it's taking action. What I'd love to go through right now is the collection side of things. How do you believe, Francois, collection has evolved in the VoC system space?
Because what's interesting, Carlos, I think in this is like most companies, when they have like a CX team or they have like people which the job is to improve, like understand the customer pain points and improve, like the voice of customer is no new term. It's been there for, as you've mentioned, like quite a long time, not 30 years, but like 10-ish, depending on the company's maturity. And I think what's very interesting and very like where we can spend a bit of time is to see like, oh, does the like basic VoC programs, like how do they evolve with the new technology that we have today, and the impact like on the business results at every step on the way. And so I think when it comes to collection, which is the first step, like basically being able to collect customer feedback, like the main like the main change is basically with AI now, you can tap into like any unstructured text. And you have a lot of voice of customer, which is not really a voice, but it's actually text. And you have like social networks, lots of text. You have like e-reputations, lots of text. You have and tickets, like support interaction. It's also a lot of text. And then you also have voice that you can transcribe as text when it comes to like call recording, sales recording with prospect as well.
Yeah.
And so the massive change from the collection standpoint is that we used to just be relying on customer surveys where, like we had as a CX professional, like you had 100% like control on every single step on the process. How do you measure? Where do you measure? And so on, which gives you real-time customer feedback, but it's on the people that will reply to your surveys, on the people. So it's a lot of, it doesn't cover all of the inputs, whereas like now with AI, you can tap into every single input of the voice of the customer.
Yeah, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head in the sense that collection has become smarter thanks to the use of AI. I mean, you mentioned a wide range of topics there in terms of ways of collecting through voice, through social media, being able to harness a lot of that text information and being able to collect it in a quicker way. You also mentioned the fact that traditionally this was all done by surveys, and now we don't have to rely on just that one aspect, which is great. And so when we're thinking about AI and the collection side of things, I know it's all well and great that we have the ability to collect from lots of different channels, but what would you say for something like survey fatigue? Because surveys are still going to be a very strong and important aspect of the collection process.
I think it's going to be less and less important in the future, because like if you listen to like if you ask an open text question of like what would you improve, like there is like you're going to get insight from there, and companies have been doing that for a long time. But if you were to analyze like the thousands of tickets that you receive every single month, that would give you a much more accurate version of insight, and also it's a lot more quantifiable in terms of business impact. So I think like survey fatigue is a real thing. Like again, just open your inbox. Like I think everyone can open the inbox and they will get the feeling. Survey won't disappear, because again, like you want to have you want to be proactive when it comes to measuring your customer experience. You want to be able to listen, but at the end of the day, again, like you're not going to collect everything from surveys. And I think it was probably like 90% of the VoC data a couple of years ago to now where it's going to land into like the 30-40%, and then I think it's going to decrease to be just one out of four basically. But it's going to be as important as like a reputation. If you're a B2C brand, for example, like you got tons of insights in your Google reviews, you got like tons of insights in your Trustpilot data. You've got tons of like this, like this data is already there. And so yeah, I think like survey fatigue is a real thing. And yeah, we have a lot of new opportunity with like unstructured data which we can tap into, and that's with the technology that we have with AI today, it is pretty cheap. Like you can, like it used to be very expensive to collect that data, to centralize it, to run a model, to analyze it. Whereas like right now, it's no longer the case.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point in terms of centralization, because obviously voice of the customer is very customer experience focused. That particular department is going to be taking the lead. But now we're seeing a kind of shift towards more departments being able to take ownership through the use of centralization, having that information in one space.
Yeah, that is very interesting because so we write a lot, and I think we've discussed that in the last episode, Carlos. But I think there's that idea of like system of records, which have been implemented by many companies. So you have your CRM system, like you have a system that's, if you're like a retail company, like you have all your stores, like if you're a product company, like you have all your tickets with like every single feature improvements, like basically every like a big majority of companies today, except if you've been like sleeping for the last 20 years, you have system of records in place, and your company has invested a lot of money to get these systems into place, and they've improved productivity, and they've built an asset which are the records, like your data, which is your your company's data, right? And then what we see, and what's very exciting, is kind of like the system of intelligence. Is like, okay, how do you use AI to solve real business problem? When it comes to customer experience, it can be again like the product pain points, the shop that perform the best, why, building actions plan that, but tapping into this data and building a layer where you can you can build a system where you get real-time information about like how to improve something, how to again create very specific action plan based on data that is not necessarily into your departments. And one example is, for example, when it comes to products, if we take just you building a software, like you're going to get a lot of reviews from the like the survey that you ask with your UX researcher, but you're also going to have a lot in your app store reviews if you have an app. You're also going to have a lot in the support system. So if you have like a system of record for tickets, you will have a lot of information about like how do you improve your product, and having a way to have all of this intelligence centralized and very easy to query based on your role is, I think, a key point, and is going to make the difference between a company that's able to innovate, like and basically get on top of their competitors.
Yeah, I think this is a really nice segue into our second part, which is about the insights and analysis. So what I really want to cover here is a little bit more on the like how do we collect CRM, ERP data in order to continue that centralization process? Because it's great that we have surveys, social media, etc., but we need to segment that audience a little bit. We need to understand, okay, but what trends are we actually seeing here?
Yeah, and it comes also to because we've mentioned like with VoC program like changing and evolving, like that is one of them. Is between the moment where the first iteration of voice of customer system were implemented, which are just system of records of feedback, of customer feedback, basically, which are very simple like surveys. If we were to sum up the idea, like again, very good, like they're already there. Let's capitalize on this to build the next version of what voice of customer look like, and to be more on the intelligence side. And in the last couple of years, system of records have been growing. And now what's very important, if you want to make AI a competitive advantage when it comes to detecting the like opportunities, the pain points, like you need to be able to correlate these different systems of records together, and whether that's a customer feedback with basically like again, CRM being a very good example. And what's the excellent news is if you're using any modern system of records, such as Salesforce, for example, or Oracle, or like basically system which have like APIs, it's pretty straightforward to connect this. And so what we see at Feeder is we see companies which are going to benefit from multiple system of records to have very reliable intelligence. So they're going to take not only the CRM data, but they're also going to take, like their internal list of employees, so they can match with the department, they can match with the team lead, and then they're also going to add to this the product records. They're also going to add like multiple records to make every single piece of customer feedback, again, not necessarily coming from a survey, but could come from a Google review, could come from a ticket. They're going to add this extra information to make it extremely intelligent, basically. And then if you use this and you add AI, well, then you can say goodbye to your dashboard with like lots of KPIs, where you have a KPI and you're like, I need to improve the KPI. Like, what do I have to do? You get a lot easier.
Yes, which is always the fear when you have a KPI that you're looking after and you're like, how do I actually change this? How do I make this better?
Yeah, because also like most VoC programs today, or in the last couple of years, they've been about like tracking KPIs, which are customer experience KPI. And again, it's a good start. Like you want to start with having a real number and making sure that these NPS, these CSATs, like they are as accurate as possible. But also, like you can you have a real-time visibility on this, right? It's not something that you see every single year or every single quarter, but that's something you can track on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and that every single team has access to this kind of KPIs. So making sure that all of the action that they do on a daily basis end up having an actual impact on the customer experience, and therefore on the ability of the company to transform itself as well.
If you don't mind, walk me through maybe an example of someone that, okay, so we have someone that's given a Google review, so we have their name there. We also notice that that same person has opened a support ticket. Now, how would that link into the centralization process of connecting to the CRM and being able to see it in an intelligent?
It's a very good example. So you have two systems of records. You have like basically Google My Business, which is one system of record which you have access to. And then you have your ticket system, which could be Zendesk, could be HubSpot, like whatever you're using for tickets. You have these two systems of records, okay, right? And then what you want is to centralize this information. And then you also have a CRM that can tell you that this email belongs to these customers which have spent this amount of money in the last couple of years, right? And you can also know when that customer has joined your company. And so if you can, link together that text feedback from the customer support with that Google review, with that CRM information, like you have three sources coming together. And if you have the products that they've been using, and you also have the product records. So for example, you know that this product belongs to this category, and it's a strategic product, not a strategic product. Like it's something like the owner of this product is, like John. Like this is 4 systems, right? And so what you want to be able to do is to say like, okay, I have all this data. Now what do I do with it? Well, first of all, you make the correlation between them. And then you make sure that you can actually get, like not just a KPI that say this customer is, is a promoter, but you can say, okay, well, this customer belongs to this category, where we can see this category plus that product, like we have an issue there, and we need to act fast because the impact that they have on the balance sheet is more important than other categories, for example. And so, again, that's just good data management, I would say, which big companies already do. But now what's coming next and what's very interesting is that you can have AI that can detect this automatically for you. So you don't have to look by yourself and be like, hey, I've noticed that John had an issue. No, you can have, I can tell you, hey, you have an issue on this. It's been detected and this is impact. And then you can go one step further saying, okay, well, not only do you have an impact, but here, based on the tickets information that we've found, based on the Google review, like the different action plans that we will recommend to you is the following. And this gets very good because then the person in charge of the product can receive, for example, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, a list of all the improvement plans, which again, they can do everything, but at least I give them like visibility on what's going on, and they can take action and they can make the best decision. So they're empowered by not only the voice of the customer, but also like the different steps they can take to make it better and the impact.
Yeah. I think we'll cover the third part, which is acting on insights, very, very shortly. Just before we move on to that subject, what I wanted to kind of cover a little bit is when we have new technology coming through, it can be really difficult to adapt to this new technology.
Yeah.
So with AI, for example, thanks to the ease of ChatGPT, anyone can jump in and it's like having a conversation. So I'm really interested to know how AI kind of influences intelligence platforms in order for it to be democratized to every single user and not just technical users.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good point is, so transformation heroes, still getting back to the name of this episode, like it's people that are looking to improve the company, to transform it, right? To make it better in the society is going to change, the environment is going to, like a lot of it is going to change. And so every single business to improve. To change the business, you need to also transform people which are working in this business, right? And that's what's so exciting with people which have, again, they don't necessarily have the CX hats, but they do have an impact, whether in marketing and quality or in product, they do have an impact on the customer experience, and they have to advocate and to like basically get people from point A to point B, right? Where point B is better than point A in terms of, again, societal impact, in terms of also, like the competitiveness of the business. And so you want to make sure that every single employee is not left, and there's not like a couple of people that get, oh, I have like AI insights driven analysis, and then the rest is like, oh no, I have to manually like analyze or like read 500 reviews to get a couple of improvement plans. So you want to make sure, just answering your question, Carlos, but like answering your question is, you want to make sure that every single person that has access to this information has the right context, has the right data governance. So making sure that, again, like if you are in charge of a specific store, if you're in charge of a specific product, like you don't have to be in a platform that is very complicated, where you have to click 20 buttons until you get a report that is actually the insight that you need. Like you want the technology that you work with to be clever enough to push these reports in an automated way, and you want these reports to be clear enough in terms of design, in terms of labels, in terms of like comments and everything. Like you want them to be clear enough so that you don't have to have a data science or to know the data lake structure of your company to understand what's going on into these reports, right? And the more time you, like what we've seen in the past couple of months, is the more time you spend on this, the more impact you're going to get based on this intelligence.
Yeah, and I think that was the kind of point I wanted to understand and get from you, because early adopters are usually those that are more willing to take risks in terms of like understanding the technicalities.
Yes, like usually like basically people with a customer experience hats, or like in short, like they are the ones which are going to be bridging the gap between the operational need from people which are, again, not necessarily on the ground, but if you're a retail store, like they're on the ground, maybe they're not in the ground. But the point is with people which are like very much business oriented, and with people which are very much like IT/data oriented. And that's the magic with the CX position, is like you're right in the middle, right? And you report to CEOs, you report to the board, you're directly in contact with people which are on the ground. And that's why like you need to have this platform that lets you build these connections, and you can do it very manually, but it's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that brings us over to our third part, which is acting. How are we able to close the feedback loop? We've collected the information we want, whether that's from social media, from Google reviews, from all sorts of different channels. We have the insights now. We're able to look at our KPIs. We're able to say, okay, well, this has gone up, well, this has gone down. That's all well and good. But now we need to take action. Now we need to actually make the difference. And so in terms of how acting has changed over time, I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but it'd be interesting to understand how AI can help with that manual process of, okay, now I have my KPI. What can I do in order to actually make a change?
Yeah, so you don't want to just have the KPI as a startup.
Exactly.
And again, like that's part of the evolution of voice of customer. Is it used to be very KPI driven, and most of the, like it's about dashboard. Basically, you have your different KPIs. You can compare it with the other branches and so on. Again, it's a very good start. But when it comes to action, the last part of the VoC process, what's very interesting is it's been a lot about like close the loop, which is, again, not something brand new. It's been there for a long time. And close the loop, for those who are not necessarily familiar with the term, it basically means you recontact whenever like you call back. Like if someone's pissed off, if someone's very happy with your product, like you basically call back and be like, hey, we've listened to your feedback. What's next, right? And there's a couple of things there. The first one is that it's a very manual process because you basically need someone to be like, hey, like you need to take someone's time to actually do this. It has massive impacts on the customer experience, which is why companies are doing it. But at the end of the day, the way it's done is still a very manual process. So that this process is going to change and to evolve in the future. And the way AI is going to help is basically making sure that all the manual steps in this closed loop process, so the notification, like having the right context without you having to check the customers in the CRM system into like your other systems until you can call them back. Maybe booking like the call as well. Like all of this is going to be automated at some point where you will still get the human touch, but I think like the manual action of like I have to do a lot of research so I can call the right person and have the right notifications and so on. I think that's going to be way more pleasant for people doing it. And then the second thing, Carlos, is I think what AI is also changing a lot is that ability to switch from a single, like I receive a notification when someone's pissed off, to having a global view and to being able to detect low signals and being able to draw action plans automatically, not only just on one customer, but like in your specific area, where that's again specific store, specific product, but basically being able to like very specific action plans which are going to be automatically created for you, which is challenging because then you need to detect the impact. Like again, that these are subjects we're spending a lot of time and research on, and it's not easy to drive the perfect action plan for for someone with the right context, with the right So in an action plan, or the way we design it with a lot of customers right now with AI, is you want to be able to have kind of like two sides. You want to have one side which is like what's not working. So basically, what are the key issues and what is the impact of every single issue. And it's challenging because again, like you can have like lots of noise. You can have like lots of sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes again, like you work in product, sometimes the customer, like if you have ticket data, sometimes it's customer support, right? It's not you. But sometimes there is some product insight in there, and so you want to capitalize on that. But you need to be so first of all, the first step is to have a system that can detect noise and get rid of the noise. So you only have things which are like that you can act on, or like improvements which are directly related to your business job, like your area of business, right? And then the second part is you want to have like very specific action plans, so improvements. So not only what's not working, but how do I solve it? And then that's where it gets tricky, because if you're too generic, again, you have a store and the AI suggests manage your stocks better. Like you can't really do anything about that, right? And that's it's one of the massive pain points right now with AI driven action plan, right? So you want to first of all make sure that the action that you have, they are they're not specific. They're very specific. Sorry, they're not generic. And so as much as possible, you link with CRM data, you link with product data, you link with, so you can really get into the detail, and you can have like different of layers. So if you have a stock issue, what products, what supplier, like you basically get into the detail automatically, and AI can help you do that. And then the very last part of the process is to have the impact of every single action, and to be able, okay, these are the things that are broken. These are the actions that we think that are doable, that are not too generic, and that are tied to your level of responsibility and to what you have access to. But now we need to give you also a list of of impacts. Like which one do you focus on? And this is kind of like the very last step of the process at this stage. Yeah. Oh yeah, there is a security part as well, which we've touched on already in a couple of episodes. But I think it's always very important to remember. Like you want to make sure that you, again, like you're not putting all your customers' data in ChatGPT and be like, hey, give me an action. Like that usually does not work very well for your customers' data. What? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a reason why it's free, right? And so it's okay if it's your data. It's not really okay. It's absolutely not okay if it's your customers' data or your company's data. So you want to be very careful with this. Um, and yeah, and again, at the end, what's very exciting with this technology is like the next couple of steps. Like again, like right now, for example, at Physio, we're able to build this action plan automatically, but we still have a couple of we still have a lot of R&D to do to automate the whole process and then to calculate the impact. And when you've calculated the impact, you can calculate the return on investment of every single action, which is kind of the dream. And then you can also what? Yeah, but because then you can like what's very interesting is the final like if you can tie it, if you can tie together, sorry, like what your customers want, what's good for the business, what's good for society, and like your transformation, and you can find the best course of action, which not only which protects the direction you're going from a business standpoint, from a transformation standpoint that you will have to do, or and also from your customer's point of view, like it gives you the best action that you can take from improving your product and services to get there. And it's interesting, like we have a lot of use cases that feel like are very interesting, like whether that's airplane companies, that's airports. Like these are businesses which are massively going to have to change, and they do have a massive impact on everything that's that we hear in the news. Like if you want them to improve, like they have a massive challenge of understanding, okay, where do I focus on without losing all my clients? Yeah, because you have a lot of data as well. You got a lot of processes, and if you can pinpoint the right improvements that aligns every single point of view. I mean, not every single point of view, but the point of view which matters the most. So again, like customers, like what your business wants and what society wants also. Like it gets very, very interesting. No, go for it. Carlos sounds like you have work to do on your side. No problem. Cool. Thank you very much, Carlos. It's very, very good conversation. Bye bye.